guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Finally back from vacation and uploading a video today as promised. And by the way, guys, my next video is going to be with my master watchmaker, Hansi. So you're going to want to subscribe so you don't miss that. We're going to answer some really interesting watchmaking questions, such as what is the most annoying movement to work on? Are silicone parts any good? And what accuracy can you really expect from a vintage watch? All that and more coming up. But today we're going to talk about something pretty interesting, something that if you're a watch collector you noticed, and that is Rolex nicknames. Why are they nicknamed? Why are certain watches nicknamed certain things, and what exactly do they mean? So today I'm going to cover some of the popular ones, not all of them, but some of the popular Rolex nicknames, and some of them are a little bit more obvious, some of them a little bit less obvious, but I'm going to be explaining them today. And also, if you're interested in Rolex, don't forget to check out my website, delraywatch.com, where I just got in a really cool 114270 Rolex Explorer 1 in excellent condition, a white dial Milgauss, which is absolutely beautiful, a few vintage references, and of course, a whole bunch of non-Rolex stuff, like a really cool Omega Mark 40, which I think the old school version I have is a lot cooler than the new one Hodinkee got. Not to mention, it's like a third of the price as well. All that and more at delraywatch.com. So let's get right into it. If you see me looking over here, I'm just going to be reading off the Rolex reference and exactly the nickname, and I'll try to explain them. First, we're going to start off with the Submariners, and the first Submariner we have is the Rolex Submariner 16610LV, the 50th anniversary sub with the green bezel. They call that the Kermit. Now, why the Kermit? Well, it's named after that famous TV puppet, Kermit the Frog. Green bezel. The nickname doesn't make a lot of sense, but it did stick. Now, of course, the one after that, the 116610 LV. LV stands for Lunette Verde, that's green bezel, like the one I'm wearing on my wrist, is called the Hulk. Now, the reason for that is, well, Kermit already existed. The Hulk is a newer reference, and it has a lot more green, so green bezel and green crystal, and it has the new maxi case, the bigger case. So it looks like a Kermit on steroids, so they named this one the Hulk. This nickname makes a lot of sense, and it's widely used. Kermit is also widely used, but I think Hulk is a lot more well-known. Then, of course, the white gold Submariner, which is white gold with a blue dial and a blue bezel. They call that the Smurf. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Smurfs are super blue, so is the Submariner, and even though it looks like stainless steel, if you love the blue on blue, the only way to officially get that is by getting a white gold Rolex Submariner. Smurf, really cool watch. Then, before the GMTs, I'm going to go with one that the nickname has kind of replaced the name of the watch. That is the Rolex Day-Date. Any of the Day-Dates. Now, people have nicknamed it the Rolex President. Now, yes, that's not the actual name. The President is not the name of the model. If you go to the Rolex website, it is the Day-Date. President refers to the presidential bracelet, which the Day-Date is usually found on, even though you can get it in Oyster as well. So that kind of just stuck, the Rolex Day-Date President, and people call it the President even when it's not on the presidential bracelet. So that's a really interesting one, because Day-Date, even though that's the official name, has been almost completely replaced in our vocabulary with Rolex President, but that is a nickname. Then we have the GMTs, the colored ones. Now we also have the GMT Pepsi, that of course is because the colors of Pepsi Cola, blue and red. The GMT Coke, named after the colors of Coca-Cola, blue and black. And of course, the Gmt Batman. Now this one did not make a lot of sense to me. I mean, obviously it's purple and black. It makes sense. But I remember when this first came out, I was working retail. And the first nickname before it was called the Batman was the GMT Bruiser. Now that has been completely replaced. I haven't heard anyone call it the Bruiser, well, in at least 10 years. No, not 10 years. At least 5 or 6 years. Sorry, I got my timeline mixed up there. But it was originally nicknamed the Bruiser by most people, but the Batman has stuck. Of course, color scheme of Batman, the superhero, I think that makes sense. Oh, also, how could I forget the Rolex GMT Rootbeer? Not the A&W, not another famous brand, but just root beer, the color of the soda. That, of course, is the bezel and the dial. I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, if we go old school, another kind of watch, which no one calls it by the reference, but is called by its nickname, the Rolex 3131, the Bubbleback. This is a vintage reference, usually 31 millimeters. I think they made it up to 33, and the back is shaped like a bubble. Yeah, that's simple, guys. However, colloquially, even everybody, they don't call it the 3131 or the Oyster, they call it the Bubbleback. So that one has replaced kind of its official name as well. Now the Sea Dwellers, the Rolex 1665 is the double red. The early ones were the double red because you have those two lines of text on the dial. However, when the 1665 kind of got older, even though it's the same reference number, Rolex changed the dial and they removed those lines of text and changed it to white. That reference, people nicknamed it the Great White. So you have the double Sea Dweller and the Great White. And of course, probably the most famous one is the Rolex 6241 Daytona, also known as the Paul Newman, which was made famous because Paul Newman wore it. This is the one that's breaking all the auction records. And, the Paul Newman, probably the most desirable Rolex on Earth right now. Now, of course, there are a bunch of other nicknames out there. Some GMTs are called the Fat Lady with their newer case, also known as the Sophia Loren. And you have the Rolex Pandelone and the Rolex Stellina. Those are, dials, but those are less common Rolexes. This is just a quick and dirty guide to Rolex nicknames. Why are they called that? Where do the nicknames come from? Most of them are self-explanatory, but I didn't really see too many people make a list of this, so I thought it was interesting for you guys to maybe know some of the history and know why they are why they're called what they're called. Anyway, guys, quick little episode today. Just got back from Spain. We'll be doing a lot more in-depth content soon, so please stick around for the video with Hansi. And of course, let me know if you have any questions. Guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. It really does help. And of course, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.